Summer break may be beginning for the real Formula One season, but our season is just beginning. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2025 RAF Lightning's Esports Series, and we come to you from the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. 14 turns, 2.8 miles and 2 DRS zones. The first one down the main straight, the second one on the run to turn number 10 for an overtaking opportunity. But this, as you can already see from the intro, it's no ordinary season, because this is the best of Verstappen. This season we'll be going around the tracks of what has been a sensational career for Max Verstappen since 2015. And you can see we start here in Barcelona. You have to ignore the dates, they're a week backwards because we had a small delay. We start here in Barcelona tonight, then head to Mexico next weekend before heading to the home of Red Bull, Spielberg. It's a pilgrimage for all the Dutch fans. Then we head home to Silverstone before heading to Spa-Francorchamps, another one of Max's home Grand Prix in the boarding belt, if you don't know that. Then off to Interlagos, where he had that incredible save just a few years ago. And then to Yas Marina for the race we don't often talk about, but in 2021 taking his first World Championship. Then to Suzuka, then off to Bahrain, the Hungaroring, Austin, Texas, and then we finish at his home Grand Prix in Zandvoort to finish off the season. So welcome along then, ladies and gentlemen, to the start of this season. We are in the practice session, allowing teams to get their setups just finalised and their controls set. Hi George, I am your commentator again once again this season. I don't have anybody next to me this evening. Unfortunately, as you can see, a certain Jack is racing this season. So he will not be joining me in the commentary box, but he has already said if he gets punted off, he will come and join us a little bit later on. But hopefully for the rest of the season, we should have Crow, last season's champion, join us for this season. He just was unable to make it. So the teams then have finished the practice session. We're about to go into qualifying in the next few moments as we load into there. And this is, as you know, the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. 4.6 kilometers. We've got 33 laps around his day. It's the same rules as normal. You're probably just thinking, well, where's the actual cars? We're not running the actual cars this season. We're running the F1 World cars. Add a bit of spice, had some nice liveries to that, so the creativity comes out for the drivers, but also we get to see some incredible racing on an equal level. Track then was built in 1991 as we go green for the first qualifying session of this season. We need more comms volume. Of course you can have more comms volume. Thank you very much. I'll just pop that up. Hopefully that is a bit better for you. So we are just waiting for the first car to leave the pits. I can hear engines running in the garages. Lots of cars now leaving the garages. 14 drivers this evening for what is the first race of the season as well. There we are. FDQ then, first one out on track. Let's get up the necessary bits that we are going to need this evening. Yeah, you can see it's the F1 World cars we are going to be using. So drivers have their own sort of style for each Grand Prix. Sorry, I said it was FDQ out on track. It's Hamas. Hamas out on track. I apologise. I can see FDQ is out as well on the track. So Hamas will be the first one. You can see everyone's getting out early, trying to set their first times. 18 minutes of qualifying then. That's all we have for quali, so you only get one chance at it. There's no knockouts. You can see the changed final corner, because we don't want the chicane anyway. Let's have a look then with Hamus as they cross the line and start the first timed lap of season number 3. Heading into turn 1, DRS starts to close, keeps it nice and tight to the inside. And hugging the inside of turn 2 and into turn 3, flipping the apex. You're flat out around here. Maybe not at the start of this session just due to the grip levels, but you still will be flat out in qualifying. That corner there, 2016, handed Max Verstappen his first victory, his first of over 60 victories and 117 podiums. Up into this very fast little complex of turns 7 and turn 8, and then into turn 9, keeping it flat around about 6th gear into the first DRS. So you see that rear ring flap open there, and then the new building of the pit complex that was built ready for last season. Again, another reprofile bit into 10 and 11, then into turns 12, around about 3rd gear, just keeping the power on, trying not to spin it, and then into turns 13 and into 14, keeping it as flat as possible around the final corner. What's the time going to be for Hamus? It's going to be top of the timesheets. It's 1:13.8 for Hamus there, as FDQ follows just behind. The George, though, takes P2. So we're starting to see some very fast times indeed being added to the board. A couple of cars just re-entering the pit lane. There's Wing that comes across the line, he goes 5th fastest. As we have got a yellow flag, and it's a white one, I think. Having a look at it, let's find out who it is. We have got a car out on track who's a bit stuck. I think it's Tank, potentially. We'll just find that one out for you. Might have lost absolutely everything, do apologise. No, Tank is still on track. It was the Flash. Flash has had an issue. Oh, and round he goes. Once again, hot tyres, needs to be careful with what he's got under his right foot. I wonder what's happened there to the Flash. Just wants to be careful now, heading into the pit lane, because there's that wall there, and he goes straight into the wall. Lucky not to be a retirement and starting at the back of the grid. Then other cars crossing into the pit lane. So we're going to have a look at Golf Maniac then. Yet to set a time into turn 10 and turn 11. He has a big slide out of turn 12, hitting that sausage curve on the inside. That is an auto spin curve. You're going to struggle if you hit that. That's not going to help his time at all. Around the final corner, he's still going to set it as a little bit of a banker. What's it going to be? It's only 10th fastest, 1:17.5. AMS Josh quickest at the moment, 1:12.5. We're into the 1:12s already. But that is not going to help. That little spin. Let's take a look at Tank then. Let's go on board with Tank and have a look at the lap. So just turn the game volume down just a tad. A bit loud. Turn 1, he hits the curb there. He has a little bit of a slide at that point. Then into turn 2, 6th gear, still pushing nice and hard on there, using his overtake at the same time, as you can see at the bottom of the screen on the steering wheel. Then into turn number 4, keeping it tight and heading out wide. Don't want to hit the AstroTurf on the side with those sausage curves, so you will lose time. Into turn number 4, where George Russell and Max Verstappen had a little bit of an instant here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Max Verstappen receiving a penalty after the Grand Prix for that contact. Up into turn 9, is it going to be flat a little bit? No, he keeps it flat, the edge is just going to drop down. Opens DRS, now heading into turn number 10. Turn number 10, braking at around 3rd gear. Out wide, and then starts to put the throttle down once it's settled, but then you're braking again into 3rd gear, trying not to hit that sausage curve as we saw one of the drivers do just now. Into the penultimate corner, keeping it flat. Now into the final corner at turn 14. What is the time going to be as he crosses the line? fastest one, 12.7 for Tank there. Very, very good indeed. Tom Tristan invalidating his lap, so he's going slowly to let other cars by. We look at Ben Tomlin now, still yet to set a time. We have got yellow flag sets too, so we've got a couple of slow moving vehicles in and around the track. Into the final corner though, what can Ben Tomlin do? What time will it be? Ninth fastest one, 1. So Ben there. So still lots of time to go in this session. Bomber is out on a flying lap as we speak there. But I can see that ERS light has gone, so maybe he's backed out of it. It doesn't look like he's pushing ultimately hard. Mostly he's backed out of the lap potentially, recharging that battery with the ERS light still flashing on the back. Golf Maniac though is still out on those soft tyres, so trying to get a good banker as we're now coming into halfway through this first session of the season. He struggles just to get the turn in there into turn 5. He may be coming into the pits at the end of the lap. The tyres will not have as much grip as they did on his first lap. Obviously, due to the nature track, the soft tyre can't go very far. But lots of drivers now in pit lane picking when to go for their next runs. Probably as we head further into the session, we'll start to see that. The Flash, though, has started another lap. So 1 lap old softs for the Flash there. Final couple of corners, let's jump on the Flash. It looks to me, yeah, that car's entering pit lane as we see Ben Tomlin entering pit lane there. So the Flash now, you can see, pushing, he's in the colours of what was Jaguar back in the day before Red Bull bought the team in 2004, renamed it to Red Bull, and Red Bull becoming one of the most successful teams in the modern era of Formula 1. With the rises of drivers like Sebastian Vettel, Mark Webber, Daniel Ricciardo, and of course Max Verstappen. Into the final couple of corners then for the Flash. What can the Flash do? Would it be as speedy as the name suggests? No, he invalidates out of the final corner. You can see he just went over the white line. That decides where that decides whether it stays valid or not. The Flash probably going to box at the end of this lap because this lap now is invalidated as well after coming out of the final corner. Let's have a look at the asset, just starting in his lap as he's going round the first couple of corners, really pushing the fight. He's going to come across some traffic shortly, but if you've been watching the Assetto Corsa series that we had a few weeks ago, you would know blue flags in Assetto Corsa don't have to do anything, but in Formula 1 it is mandatory. You have to move out the way for the faster driver, even in qualifying. So the asset now coming up behind one of the drivers, and you see there, perfect etiquette by the driver there, moving out the way, allowing the faster car to come first. Got some yellows up at sector 1, up at turn 4, but that's quickly gone away. And then into sector 3 is a yellow flag, and there's a car going very, very slowly. I think that might be the Flash again. We'll have to have a look in a moment. Asset then coming across the line. Is it going to be faster? Yes, fastest lap of the session. Provisional pole position 1:12.3 for the asset. It's the time to beat with 6 minutes left of the session. So Flash back into the pit lane after I think he had a bit of a safari moment, I would say. Another driver gone off track. I think that's Cat Plane going off the track. It is Cat Plane in the gravel. Cat in the gravel. What has happened to the new driver this season? Trying to find her bearings. What has happened to Cat Plane there? She's got to be careful, rejoin the tracks. She's coming back. She's now off the racing line, but coming back on quite riskily onto the racing line a little bit. Was there contact up at turn 9? Cat on an out lap, so she would have needed to get out of the way. I just don't know what's happening. Hamer's going slowly as well. So sometimes they're now starting to show they just want to try and get one more lap in. Golf Maniac set a new benchmark. Because we're coming around the final corner. There's a lot of traffic here from slow drivers entering the pit lane. Round the final corner for Golf Maniac. I'm going to put him off a small bit. Can't go any faster. Or can't go any higher. P8. 1:13.6. Golf Maniac there as we're heading in now to the final few minutes of the session. So let's see who else is out on track at the moment. FDQ is out on track. Cat is back in the pits. The Flash is out on an out lap. Let's have a look at Ben Tomlin. He's actually invalidated his lap. We're going to have a look at FDQ then. FDQ on a valid lap. What can FDQ do this season? She's showing quite quick in the practice sessions we had in the off-season preparing for this evening. Game volume is a bit loud. Let's turn it down even more, shall we, just so we can hear my beautiful voice a bit more. I do apologise, I have my track map up. Into the final couple of corners then for FDQ. What is it going to be? And she comes around the final corner, pops the DRS open. Doesn't go any quicker. Half a second quicker, still P11 at the moment, but it's 3 lap old softs that much. You may be trying to save a set of softs for the Grand Prix. Driver's back in the pit lane at the moment, however, as the Flash. Let's see if the Flash can set a time. No, Flash is invalidated already. I don't know whether the Flash has realised, because they're still pushing the car. We've got a yellow in sector 2 for Golf Maniac, just going, or the asset just going a little bit slow. So we're just waiting for that to go green. So we see how long's left in the session. But the Flash is on an invalidated lap again. And I don't think there's going to be time for him to dive into the pit lane, put a fresh set of tyres on, and go out again. So the Flash is going to have to save fuel, save the battery, and go out again, because there is only 2 minutes and 10 seconds left remaining. Cars are now exiting the pit lane for the final time. Jack Lemon at the moment, P5. Everyone's setting the time apart from the Flash. The Flash needs to set a lap the next time around. Otherwise, they will be starting at the back of the pack. Let's have a look at Wingnut then. They've invalidated, unfortunately, so they're just trying to keep out the way. Everybody else are either in the pits. If you're in the pits, you're not going to get another time out in this session. The asset must be happy with his time and must think, I don't need to go out anymore. I think I've got this in the bag. And the asset does think that, retires from the session in the pit lane. The Flash now, though, make or break time for the Jaguar-inspired livery. Not long left of the session. Turn 1, turn 2, keeping it nice and tight. Into turn 3, keeping it hugging those curbs, then punching it wide onto the outside on the run into turn number 4. Turn number 4 comes around, keeping it tight to the inside, then pushing it out wide again. Trying not to hit the sausage curbs on the outside where the grass is. Keeps it nice onto the curb. Turn number 5. Again, nice and slow, then push out wide and press a bit faster. It's lagged him back a little bit there. Not too sure what's gone on there. A fair bit of lag on this one as we head up 7 and 8 and then into 9. We've got lots of yellow flags happening at the moment. Slower drivers just slowing down to allow the faster drivers through. Checkered flag due to come out any moment now. The Flash has retired on the track. Flash has retired. Flash thinks that's it. I can't set it. Flash will be at the back of the grid. Josh, though, past the incident zone, is now going to come around the corner to take the checkered flag. What's it going to be? Can he go fastest? Yes, he can. 1 minute 12.1 for Josh there. I think next one across the line, if I have a look. Yes, it's going to be Golf Maniac. Golf Maniac ends up going P6. Hamis is next across the line. He's invalidated, so we won't see Hamis go any faster. Oh, that was Ben Tomlin. Ben Tomlin in the gravel out of turn number 4. What has happened there for Ben Tomlin? That's the end of his session. Cat plane going wide. That's not going to help. Looks like in a bit of a battle there with one of the other drivers. Most likely on a push lap as well. It's going to be Cat that comes across the line first. Well, next even. What's it going to be? Is it going to be any faster? I don't think it's going to be. No, 119.3. Jack then. Jack Lemon. Can he do it for the commentators? No, he dives into the pits. P5 is where he shall stay. Stevie Max coming across around the final corner. What's it going to be for Stevie Mack? Stays P4. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of qualifying. AMS Josh takes pole position for the first round of the season of Verstappen. A small interlude now while we allow the drivers to get their strategy correct. But this is the grid then for the first Grand Prix of this season. It's AMS Josh taking pole position and the Asset just a tenth of a second behind. Then the gap starts to get bigger with Tank, then Stevie Mack, Jack Lemon, Golf Maniac, George Biel, Bomber, Atomic Christian, Hamis, full FDQ, Ben Tomlin, Wingnut, Catplane, and failing to set a time is the Flash. So an incredible qualifying session there. No, Catplane, they're like, I tried. Catplane, what happened? What happened? We need to know what happened. But cars now on the grid, ready to start the first race of the season. We have 33 laps to see what the drivers can do. Are we going to get Jack into the commentary box? Put your guesses into the chat now, is what I'd say. He has had a reputation, not just in F1, but in ACC as well. Nicely done to FDQ too. Yeah, FDQ, really good qualifying there. Has put a lot of hours into the game since returning. But we've got clear weather then for the start of the race. So what did we all think of qualifying as we get ready for the formation lap? First time we've seen it this season. Cars leaving the grid then going to warm up the tyres. Dagger, I need to put some hours in. 35 minutes at the minute. I've got about 40 minutes, and I probably could only say about 30 of them are at 30 of them are probably collecting clips to get intros and everything ready for this season. So cars going around, warming the tyres up, getting them nice and warm, ready for a good launch. So warmer your tyre, obviously the stickier they will be if it's your first time watching Formula 1 like this, but predictive race strategies, soft, medium, medium, or medium, medium, hard is what the game is predicting. Let's get up the tyres to see what everyone's starting on. So the top 9 all on the medium, FDQ and Ben Tomlin also on the medium, but then Hamish, Wingnut, Catplane and the Flash opting for the alternate strategy. Going for the soft tyre. So a shorter first stint is what they're going for. Around the final corner then, Wingnut and Catplane had a bit of a bump by the looks of it. They have been sent back to the grid already as the cars now come back warming their tyres and will get into position. Here we go then, everybody. The first race of the season is about to start. The last car, as you can see there, has lined up on the grid. We are almost ready to go. We don't see any lights. There's a little bit of build-up. 3, 4, 5 lights on the gantry. It's the lights out, and away we go for the start of the RAF season. Josh with a great start by the looks of it, as we can see it there. Josh with a great start in the middle. They're 3 abreast. Going into turn number 1. It looks to be Stevie Mack on the inside, having a beautiful start there. On the inside, gaining up 2 positions, but now he's going to come under fire from the Asset. The Asset looks to be battling there with Tank. We've got a yellow off into turn number 2. It looks like Catplane at the back. And there's someone at the back as well into the gravel. That's George Pierre at the back into the gravel. And now having to find their momentum once again. A little bit of a lock up there by Tank, but a wonderful start there for Josh, keeping his ground and making sure that he is able to maintain the lead. You see there the gap's already starting to form at the front. So it's Josh from Stevie Mack, from Tank, from the Asset, Jack Lemon, Wingnut, Tristan, FDQ up into P8, Flash, Golf Maniac, Bomber, Hamish, Tomlin, George and Catplane rounding off the field as we come into the final couple of corners to round off an eventful first up. We've got a yellow flag down into turn 10, I believe. There's nothing there. Looks a couple of just slow cars. We're racing once again. Josh, though, setting that initial fastest lap. But, of course, it's the first lap. The leader's always going to have that one. We can see, though, Stevie Mack having a little look. And it's a 10-second time penalty already for Amos for speeding in the pit lane. Speeding in the pit lane, 10-second time penalty, so that will be served. As we see now, the Flash and FDQ really having a battle on the run into turn number 4. Who's going to be ahead? It's FDQ, and it looks like Bomber's going to have a little look on the inside as well. They're going side by side. Is it going to be something very similar to Max? No, it's not a Max and George situation. It's the Flash that stays ahead, but stays on FDQ's wing there. FDQ, great defending, able to stay ahead. George Biel moving up the grid as well, up to B12, but not too much movement. Yes, there's a spinner at the back. That's Golf Maniac. Golf Maniac has a spin out. He has a spin out of turn 8 onto the grass. Going to have to be careful coming back on the track. He's got a little bit of time to come back on. It's all going off already for the start of this season. Josh then setting the fastest up. We've got yellow flags ahead for Ben Tomlin. Ben Tomlin keeps the car going though, so those go to green flag quite quickly. Whew. 3 laps down, eventful 3 laps. We look at on board now with Stevie Mack instead. What can Stevie Mack do? Trying to catch up, 0.6 of a second is the gap, and that's going. Amos now with another 3 seconds. That's 13 seconds of time penalties. Ben Tomlin now enters pit lane, repairing some damage. That's going to put him at the back of the pack, I would believe. May just have a fight with Cat Plane. Stevie Matt really giving it a good go, but that gap now almost opening up to a second. DRS is now available. It was available at the start of the second lap, but it looks to be it's Wingnut. Wingnut has had an incident. Wingnut having to wait for a safe point to rejoin, as we say. Rejoin safely. Rejoin safely. But we have got another car down into turn 2. It's Ben Tomlin. Ben Tomlin's had a crash by the looks of it, and he has retired in the pit lane, and the car's still on tracks. We've got yellow flags in and around turn 3, so no overtaking around turn 3, no dives around the outside. Could that be a safety car? Don't think it will be. I think we might have just got away with it there. Ben Tomlin leaves the session 4 laps into the first Grand Prix of this season. But we keep racing, no safety car as of yet. As we see now, a nice tight little battle here between the Asset and Tank. Enough room behind them as well. Asset's going to have the benefit of DRS alongside the Asset, so it's going to cancel each other out. Wingnut now into pit lane and has just left the pit lane ahead of Cat Plane. Gone on to those medium compound tyres. Into the final corner then. What can the Asset do on Tank? The gap now is over a second between Tank and Stevie Mack, so there's going to be a lot of ERS defending here by Tank. What is the Asset going to be able to do? Going to go alongside and on the inside. Nice and easy move, but Tank was going to have a little look on the inside there, see if he could get around. No, couldn't do the switch back there. Going to have to use some DRS later on in the race. FDQ though, it looks to be FDQ, Bomber and Atomic Tristan now having a bit of a battle of their own for P6. Gap was really, really close just now. Starting to build that gap up once again. The Asset now already pulling almost a second on Tank. So that gap slowly starting to dwindle away. Is the Asset going to carry on showing how fast he really, really is? FDQ though, having a really good run here. Looks like Bomber's had a bit of a wide moment, losing a lot of time. FDQ really wanted to go for the move. To see what she can do as we go on board then. Down the main straight, DRS is open, but look at the gap. The gap just lengthening out for FDQ. As now we see Bomber having a look down on the inside of Atomic Tristan. Atomic Tristan giving way to Bomber there. Bomber up to P6. Entering turn 1. FDQ starting to come back. It's Hamish now has had an accident. We have got, I believe, a safety car. Not too sure. I'm just waiting to see the panels on the side, see if we've got it. Yes, we are under safety car. Hamish with an accident down. I think Hamish has had an accident down at turn 10 from where I saw his blip. So it's the first safety car of season. So drivers now will go under a delta time they have to stick to before catching the safety car, which is currently at turn 3. It's waiting on the exit of turn 3 to pick up the leader, in this case, Josh. Is it time for drivers to think about pitting to go onto the hard tyre? Josh has decided yes! Stevie Mack decided to stay out and the asset, so Stevie Mack taking the lead. And it's a fresh set of mediums for Josh. Tank also in, Tank opting to go for the soft. Medium, soft, soft potentially then for Tank. Jack also opting to stay out on the medium tyre. But lots of cars coming into the pits. Tank's on the soft, Bombers come in. FDQ in, George Biel's come in. George Biel going on to the hards, FDQ going on to the soft. The Flash on the medium. Golf was on the medium, he's currently in the box, staying on the medium tyre, so a medium, medium, soft for Golf Mania. So another pit stop is going to be required there. Also for FDQ and Tank, another stop is probably going to be needed. But Stevie Mack now behind the safety car. Stevie Mack from the asset, from Lemon, Tristan. They all haven't pitted yet. So net race lead at the minute goes to Josh. Then Tank, Bomber, FDQ, Flash, George Biel, Golf Maniac, Wingnut and Catplane at the back. So drivers now won't be under a delta. They'll be able to push the car to catch up to the train. And they'll sit behind the safety car until the track is deemed clear. Everyone's caught up and we're ready to go racing. You see him doing that swerving, keeping the tyres nice and warm. We're going quite a considerable amount slower than normal, so the tyres are going to go colder as we go along. Safety car though. Mercedes-Benz AMG GT Black Series. You can see the lights are actually embedded into the wing. It's very weird to see. Even seeing it in real life is very weird to see. Comes up at Silverstone. But at the minute, everyone's caught up bar 3 drivers. That's Golf, Wingnut and Cat. All yet to catch up to the safety car. Would love to find out what happened to Hamish there. Oh, the asset! The asset's had an incident. An incident behind for the asset. The asset's now out. Now it won't add to how long we stay under safety car for, like it does in the real life racing. If there's an accident behind the safety car, it elongates how long it stays out for, or even can cause a red flag. But we do have red flags, but it's set so it doesn't happen often. However, it is possible for it to come out at any point. So, a couple of cars left to catch up with the train as Stevie Mack decides time to pit. Bit of a risky strategy there for Stevie Mack. Will be at the back of the grid when they return out from the pits. What's it going to be? It should be, I'd think, medium or hard tyres. Soft tyres for Stevie Mack, okay. So Jack now, I can't believe I'm saying this, Jack has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. So Jack in the lead from Tristan. Both drivers yet to pit, but this will elongate their strategy out a little bit more, save the grip on the tyres, able to go a little bit longer into the race as we now have formed the grid behind the safety car. So hopefully we should see the safety car come into pit lane. At the end of the lap, and we'll know that because we'll get a, there we go, the lights are off on the safety car. The message has been delivered to the drivers. Jack then will bunch the cars up, allow the safety car to rejoin the pit lane. Ben Tomlin boxed for front wing damage. Well, Ben, you're out now, mate. What happened? So Jack then backing up the pack. No one can overtake before the start-finish line, but he can decide to go at any point he desires. That time is now. Round the final corner then to start lap 10 as we go back racing. We're at green flag. It says yellow at the top. Just ignore it. It's a bit of a glitch. As we see now, Atomic Tristan and Josh both having a go. On the run to turn 1, it's Josh that gets ahead. On the restart, beautiful move, but then here comes Tank once again. It's a bad exit for Atomic Tristan. Tank goes into P3 and is under pressure from cars behind. Bomber and FDQ really having a bit of a battle here to get into the top 5 as Bomber now goes for a lunge and stays ahead of FDQ, able to carry on. Boxer and Stevie. I mean Stevie, boxer front wing. Stevie, boxer front wing damage. And then what happened, Ben? Shenanigans. FDQ has moved into P4, then around Atomic Tristan. I press the wrong button, then we did miss the move. But then there's been an incident there. There's been a bit of a slide. FDQ does stay ahead. Atomic Tristan goes behind George Biel, though, due to that. George Biel on the hard tyre, so they're going to need a minute to kind of warm up. Under the safety car, this should be a little bit grippy now. You can see the speed comparison into the final corner then as we start lap number 10. George Biel really wanting to see what he can do against FDQ. No DRS. DRS has just been enabled. Jack, though, has been overtaken by Tank into turn number 1. What can FDQ do? FDQ stays ahead of George Biel for the time being. Stevie Mack now up to P9 as well. Right, FDQ then now up into P3 as we've just seen Jack had a bit of an incident. He's down into turn 11. As have I just spotted a little bit of rain? Not 100% sure there. Network cable unplugged. I am on Wi-Fi. Cat plane. What happened? What happened? As we see now, wing that going very slowly into turn now. Bomber around the inside, able to do it. Whoa! And that's the flash! Trying to work out Atomic Tristan. Big slide. Big slide there out of turn 11 into turn 12. As we see there, I think that's Cat plane entering pit lane. Oh, you've crossed the line too late there, the flash. Sorry, Atomic Tristan entering pit lane. That is possibly going to be a look for Stuarts, and we have got rain. Rain in now in Barcelona. This is really going to change it up. Cat plane comes in, takes an early beat for the intermediate. So does Jack, so does Atomic. They're all coming in for the intermediate tyre. Is it the crossover already, or is it just playing it safe to try and get the advantage. This is now going to spice it up. I thought I saw rain in the air. Rain has essentially come in to play here. When will the leaders come up then? So, big gap now for Tank. Tank's 5 seconds ahead of Josh. Then we see George, FDQ, Stevie Mac, and then Bomber. Let's go into that little battle. Here as we see, we've done it at the right time. Stevie Mac going on the inside of FDQ. There's contact. FDQ pushed off the track. Are we going to see some good sportsmanship there? Yes, we are, allowing FDQ to go back through, take the position, but Tank's now decided time to box. FDQ really struggling out of turn 12, and is now the time for the crossover. I think it is. Everybody now deciding, let's get into the pit lane, as Wingnut now has done another instant. He's down at turn number 9. Sorry, turn 8. On the run to turn 9. But drivers now coming in for the intermediate tyre. That's probably why we saw drivers go onto the soft. So now there's no need to go onto another set of dry compound tyres like the rules state. We can just carry on as normal. So we come back out on track. Everybody on to intermediate tyres, bar the Flash. The Flash has opted to stay out on the slicks. But as we see, the rain's starting to get a lot heavier here in Barcelona. You can see there, the Flash starting to struggle. Maybe there was an incident there where he just wasn't able to change the tyres in time. So gaps have now started to form around the grid. Now we've had this this pit stop period. It's getting a lot slipperier around the track. Cat plane though up into P4 with the early pit stop onto the intermediate tyre. So it's a good debut for Cat plane there, as we are now around halfway into the Grand Prix. Jack though starting to close up behind of George BL. What can Jack do? He's currently one of the only drivers that are within a second. We've got no DRS because of the wet conditions, so it's all going to be based on speed and agility and just your general driving to see if you are quicker in the wet. Jack, I think, will be a little bit too far back to make a lunge into turn 10. But provided he keeps it smooth, I'm sure we could see a move into turn 1. Around the final corner, what can he do? His gap's now just extended to over. He's just under a second. And that gap is slowly closing. It's now starting to extend a bit. It's the FDQ and Bomber having a little bit of a look there, not able to make a move. Same with Jack as well. 10 seconds is the gap at the front between Josh and Stevie Mac. 10 seconds apiece for the pair of them, so quite a big gap. Cat though is starting to look and kind of see, is the podium waiting for her? Unfortunately, I don't have any tyre related stats for you. That was Jack Sparkman. He goes very deep into turn 4, and he had to go a little bit wide there to compensate, and it's going to be a little bit greasy just off the racing line, a little bit more standing water, so it's going to make it harder to really put the foot down without spinning. You have to be really careful with your right foot to make sure you don't spin the car and cause a safety car or an incident with another driver. But the grid now really starting to get spread out as we're into the second half of this Grand Prix. Car's starting to twitch a little bit as we start to see the conditions really take it into its own. We could see a change into the weather conditions. It could go back to dry later at the moment. Bonjour de la France. Bonjour. Thank you for joining us. So we can see now, though, FDQ under pressure then by Bomber. Not Bomber, sorry, by George Biel. George Biel having a look, not able to do it. Is he going to have another look into turn number 2? They're going almost side by side, but it's not quite. FDQ, brilliant defending there into the first couple of corners, is able to keep the car on the track. Agility, RuneScape, PTSD. Ah, a bit of old school RuneScape. You can't beat it, really, can you? So times are starting to speed up. Jack is now starting to catch up to this little battle. Oh, Jack has a slide. Really big slide out the corner. Really good. Able to save that so nicely then. Fair play to you, Jack. But my, don't give me a heart attack like that, man. Come on. As we see here now, George Biel really wanting to have a go round the inside of FDQ. FDQ slamming the door and saying, not coming through today. FDQ really doing well this Grand Prix. Going a bit wide there. That might be a track limit violation. We're not too sure yet. Around the final corner, FDQ trying to keep away from the slipstream. You can see there, it's going to be George Biel into the slipstream, trying to find a way through. What can George Biel do? Is it going to be enough? Going to have a look into turn 1 potentially. No, a bit too far back. No DRS makes it so much harder to even make inroads on the straights, especially in these conditions. Could we see actually wet tyres coming out? Well, I mean, this is Formula 1. We don't know what the wet tyre is half the time. 9 seconds then, gap at the front between Tank and Josh, and then another 17 seconds to get to Stevie Mack. So it is still a long, old race to go. We could still see incidents, could still see potential safety cars. Tank, though, enters pit lane. What's happened to Tank? Is it going to be a fresh set of inters, or are we going to see a run onto the wets? Josh also opted into pit as well. I think we're going to see full wet tyres. Yes, we are. The blue wall full wets. We don't see it often. They are all coming out into the pit lane now for the full wet tyre. So Stevie Mack in, Cat plane in, George Biel also comes in, all for the wet tyre. FDQ, it seems Jack and Bomber all opt in to stay on the inters. They're happy on the intermediate for now. How long is that going to last? We've got a yellow flag down into sector 2. I think it's a couple of slow drivers. That is now quickly gone to green. Lap 18 of 33 here in Barcelona, and it's a very, very rare rainstorm. I don't think I've actually seen wets being used at Barcelona before. In real life, I can't remember a time where we have seen that. So the inters now are hitting that point of, is it too wet? Potentially. So they could be starting to slide. It's not me. I'm not that good. What do you mean you're not that good, Cat? Wingnut enters pit lane. It's just coming out with wet tyres on. 30 seconds behind the pack. As we see now, Jack coming up a lot up for FDQ. Having a look just to get out the spray fit, but he's going to have a look on the inside. FDQ shutting the door, saying, "You're not coming from that far back, are you, Jack? We're meant to be friends." Jack still staying on the inside, trying to really push FDQ into a mistake, into the penultimate corner, into final corner. Are we going to see these drivers now enter pit lane? Bomber decides to pit. FDQ stays out. Jack stays out as well. Lap 19 of 33. Jack's going to have a little look on the inside, get out the spray. It's not going to be enough. It's a question of when do these guys decide to box. Yellow flag sector 2. That is Wingnut still going on, however. We're still going. You can hear on the engine that it's pushing. It's wheel spinning and it's starting to aquaplane. Struggling to find that grip. It's not quite able to really push the car. Jack and FDQ still having this battle, but I believe it will be time for the full wets like everybody else. Still 4 drivers out. The Flash and Atomic Tristan all out on the inters alongside FDQ and Lemon. Everybody else onto the wet tyre. Wet tyre deemed the appropriate tyre right now just because of the level water on track. FDQ and Jack though, is it going to be time to enter pit lane? Yes it is. Both drivers enter the pits. And we'll go onto the wet tyre. Whoa! Jack really having to slow down there and lock the tyres up. Really not going to help before the exit. Stevie Mac then. Regaining that top 3 place. Atomic Tristan still on the inters, so is the Flash. Are they going to come into the pit lane and change, or are they expecting the rain to die down? We're going to see a bit of a Nico Hulkenberg at Silverstone moment. We're not too sure as of yet, but just over 13 laps to go. Fastest lap around here, set by Oscar Piastri this year, 1:15.7. That's obviously in the dry. In the wet, you can expect those times to increase by a good couple of seconds, as the wet tyres are just that little bit. They increase the ride height of the car, and they don't actually sit in blankets. Don't need blankets to warm up. Look back with FDQ then, having a look at Bomber, 0.4 of a second. No DRS to help, of course. It is just pure speed and agility. Looking around the inside, Bomber goes a little bit wide. FDQ's going to have a look on the inside as well. Going to stick to that inside line. The inside's going to come along the outside, but FDQ has a little bit more in it, but just doesn't quite get there. Has a bit of a slide on the outside line, not able to really make it stick. FDQ going brave around turn 12. On the run to turn 13, now into 14, onto the main straight, going to try and get into the slipstream. You can see the back end just starting to slide out because of the conditions. Pushing the car as hard as she can go. Is the slipstream going to be enough to go and have a look into turn 1? The gap's starting to close. Looking into turn 1. Just isn't enough. You can see the car really starting to have a bit of a drift on there. Not quite able to keep it there. Going to have a look around the outside. It's like she wants to try and drift around the corner by the looks of the car. The way that it's pointing, but just not quite able to keep it there. There's a bit of a... This is where it's going to come down to... Oh, contact by FDQ and Bomber into turn 4. FDQ gets the place. but that little tail slide coming out of turn 4, causing that contact. Bomber to take to the grass, just not able to capitalise and keep it going. See that dry line starting to form. Drivers are going to try and hit the wet line to keep the tyres cool, as the rain seems to be subsiding, I hope. But it is still coming down. No, it isn't subsiding. It's still coming down a fair bit, looking at it on my screen. So FDQ up into P7, Jack P8, a Bomber dropping 2 positions to P9. Could that go to the stewards after the Grand Prix? We will have to wait and see for the results for that one next week. So lap 22 then of the 2025 RAF F1 Esports Season 3, the best of Verstappen. Thank you for your company this evening. We do hope this is an entertaining one. I know the commentary may not be as it is normally. However, next week I won't be on my own. This is top banter. Ah, Charlie, yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? It's top banter. Yeah, will Cat get an AI podium? That is a question. That car, half a second behind Stevie Mack at the minute, so that will be interesting to see what happens with that car. Don't think it will count to the official result though. Jack now starting to catch up on FDQ. Gaps are really starting to, as you can see, really branch out across the grid. We are now just 11 laps remaining here in Barcelona. You can see that dry line. Everyone's opting to get onto the wet line. As I said, it's very much a case you want to keep those tyres cool. Jack's going to have a look though on the inside of FDQ into turn 1. Jack makes the move and up into P7 for my beloved co-commentator, doing the commentary team proud there. Nemesis, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. So a little bit of a slide moment by FDQ there. AI for president. That's what it's going to be at this rate. AI for president there. Nemesis. Better. 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 You can see both your chats, whether you're on YouTube or on Twitch this evening. We'll be able to see your chats, so do keep them coming in. So, that battle's starting to subside. Jack now half a second behind this guy here, Thomas Tristan. Thomas Tristan opting to stay onto the intermediate tyre. Is that now going to be a mistake? Because Jack is caught up very, very quickly to the back of Atomic Tristan into the final corner. What can we do? Bomber gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's the first 3-second time penalty and the only one on the board. Jack really wanting to have a go. He's going to have a look down the inside. Is going to cut back in. Yeah, just going to stay on the line and allow Atomic Tristan through. Just not close enough. Weaving down the straight. Breaking the slipstream. Making sure that they can carry on as normal. Jack goes around though on the inside. Is able to overtake Atomic Tristan on the run to turn 4 with tyres that are just able to cope with the conditions so much better than the intermediates. The intermediates are now at a point where with 12 laps done on them, they're going to be wearing, starting to go into more of a slick, but at the same time they don't have the deep grooves the wet tyre does, so it's not able to disperse as much water. Sorry, I haven't got the bathtub facts yet. How many pools it can fill up in so many seconds. It wouldn't take that long, to be honest with you. So, it's Tank from Josh. Josh has caught up. 2 seconds is the gap between the leaders. So we could be seeing a battle there very, very shortly for the race. Stevie Mack, 44 seconds behind the top 2. Then we go to the AI of Cat. Yeah, AI for president. Even I will say that now. Echo, echo, echo. Crow, what you on about, mate? Echo, echo, echo. Stevie Mack now leaving the session. So that's going to be interesting for Stevie. Starting to see brighter skies though, so we could see something interesting. FDQ though is looking to try and get past Atomic on the wet tyre, on the wetter side, where she's going to have more grip, and on the inside goes FDQ. Atomic Nutrition doesn't want to do that, but then FDQ says, you don't really have a chance there, do you? So FDQ up into P7, Atomic Nutrition into P8. Does Atomic Nutrition know something? Does Atomic Nutrition know this rain's about to subside and we're about to go racing fully again? So there's Josh then. Oh, having a bit of a slidey moment, but that's kind of helped him there. Getting around the corner as we join with Josh. Going into turn 5. You can see the gap now starting to close for the leaders. So, two team last place, team podium first race. Yeah, you got 2 hashtags there, Cap. 2 hashtags there. Lap 26 of 33 here for the Verstappen season here in Barcelona, the opening round of this year's championship. Josh starting to close in for the win here against Tank. Tank actually joined in the session late due to issues with the hardware that he's got running this game. Not able to start up his computer in time, but was able to make it in the middle of qualifying, so has been able to join. And actually now, is that what he's going to have to do every week? Is that going to help him? Being under pressure, we see here Josh really sliding into the corners, trying to make his way around. And see there, locking up. You can hear all 4 tyres really starting to lock in the rain. It really is not subsiding, is it? It's really coming down. Thank God this is virtual, otherwise I feel sorry for these guys out on track. A bit of a wet affair. Second is the gap. Normally at this point we would open up DRS around here. No, not in the wet. Been disabled due to safety regulations. So some more facts for you then. So memorable moments we could say. 2016 up at turn 4, Mercedes colliding on lap 1 with Lewis Hamilton trying to take the inside. Nico Rosberg closing it off as he was in the wrong start mode. That's why he started to derate going into turn 4, causing them to go off into the runoff at turn 4, and Max Verstappen taking the lead, and then subsequently taking his first win at 18 years, 228 days old, making him the youngest Formula 1 winner in history. Between 2007 and 2016, we had 10 different winners in 10 Grand Prix. So it was always an unpredictable one around the circuit, Barcelona, Catalunya. Most wins, though, goes to Lewis Hamilton. 6 wins around here. Max Verstappen only with 4, and Fernando winning it on home soil with 2. I believe that was 2005 and 2010. Yellow flag down in Sector 2. That's just for slow-moving cars as we've just gone through that area. Josh is now all over the back of Tank. Is he going to go for a lunge into turn 10? No. He's going to try and keep it going, maybe try and get him on the main straight. There's not many laps left to go of this Grand Prix though. Into turn 12, now on the run to turn 13. You don't want to keep it flat around here too much in the wet, at risk of spinning off. Chances of a safety car now, if anything does happen, are a lot more marginal. So we probably won't see it. Josh then, in the slipstream. Is he going to have a look into turn 1? We have got some lapped runners now starting to appear in front. So blue flags are going to start waving. I'm not too sure who that is. That might be actually Catplane's car. Blue flags waving then. Out of the way. Oh, that was Bomber actually. Bomber moving out of the way there. FDQ next up the road. Josh though, not going to have a look into turn 4 here. You can see the back end really starting to twitch coming out of the corners. But he is side by side. Are they going to have a look into turn number 5? Tank with the inside, Josh with the outside. I think Tank has just got it with the inside line. Josh though is still side by side. Out, and he goes into the lead. Josh into the lead on the run to turn 7. The angle I had, I couldn't quite tell who was going to be ahead. Wingnut, though, has a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We'll have to serve that on his next pit stop, not the one that he's serving now. Josh, though, retains the lead of this Grand Prix he had at the start, but pitting for different tyres due to the change in conditions and the early safety car, meaning he did lose those positions in the end. Last couple of corners, blue flags starting to be waved for FDQ. As we've just seen Wingnut decide to go onto the intermediate tyre. So that is a big risk for Wingnut there. I think it is far too wet for that. 4 laps to go then here in Barcelona for the opening round. It's been a pretty crazy one. But whoa, Josh with a big slide. That's going to open up to Tank quite a bit. Tank should be able to capitalise on that. Gap's starting to close a little bit more. Into turn number 4. Tank also having a bit of a slide into turn 4, but he's still going to have a good push here. Into turn number 5. What are we going to see from Tank here as we go on board? Driver's really struggling. Aquaplane is starting to become a real factor. You can see that drying line. That's where it's going to be most the grippiest, but it's still going to be extremely greasy and extremely wet. Tank wanting to take the Grand Prix win here and take the opening race of the season to prove himself just that little bit. The track here then built in 1991 as part of the Barcelona Olympics in 92. As part of that project, we've been coming here ever since. We've had races in Valencia for the European Grand Prix. That stopped in 2012. And from next year, the Spanish Grand Prix will be at the Madrid in Madrid. This track will then be known as the Catalunya Grand Prix. $300,000 people attended the track over the course of the weekend this year. 400,000 in 2024. Tank really trying to battle the car, trying to get through. Josh having still a bit of a slide into turn number 5. Going to start losing that time, jumping onto the wet line, just trying to cool the tyres down, get the grip that it needs. So of course on there they'll call it the land to sea ratio on these tyres. How much tyre tread is actually touching the track, or is it just touching water? You want obviously to be on the track more. Going to start the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix in just a few moments time. As we look at Tank then really starting to put pressure onto Josh, but Josh has able to find the rhythm and feel the ride. Get on up, people. It's F1 time. No, that was all fast seeing myself out there. Down the main straight, penultimate lap has started. The rain still coming down into turn 1. Tank still trying to find the time and catch up to possibly take the lead of this Grand Prix in the dire moments. Gap's now under a second. That's still growing as we're going around the corners. It's now starting to drop even more. Stevie Mack has joined back just in time, but there's still a big gap there of over 50 seconds. More blue flags, more traffic coming around turn 4. You can just see going into that corner, Josh sliding. It's not going to be good for him to carry on doing that. Wearing those tyres out. You've got to remember these cars still have the tyre damage, which is still very, very random. If one tyre is a little bit more worn, you will feel it going around the corners. You don't want to wear them out too much, especially in these conditions. You wear these tyres out, they'll turn into a slick rubber on a wreck track. You ain't going to get anywhere, my friend. Turn 10, turn 11, Josh sticking it out. We're coming into the final lap now of this first Grand Prix of the season. Into the penultimate corner, we've got Jack up ahead. We'll get the blue flags to move out of the way as we start now the final lap of the first round here. It's the final lap then. It's been an interesting first Grand Prix. Tank's still trying to push though. Wants to try and get every last bit of battery, every last bit of whatever's left of the tyres to work in his favour, to try and take the lead of this Grand Prix. Josh having a really slidey moment there. That's not going to help with the pressure. Are we about to see Josh take the first win, or will he bottle and slide in under pressure and will not be able to keep that lead? He's still pushing as hard as he can. Tank may not be able. Josh having a really big slide up onto the curbs, and then Tank having the same there. So following each other now. It's not good at all, but it's only the final lap. They just have to get round one more tour of the circuit, or even, not even that, one more sector. But it's been interesting. We had an early safety car. We've had 3 DNFs. One person has kept it through it all, kept cool under the pressure as he enters the final corner now. It's Josh, AMS Josh, to take the opening round of the RAF Esports Championship. Tank comes second, Jack comes home in 6th. We're going to see now Stevie Mack. Oh, that is the gap at the moment for Stevie Mack. Still up at turn number 4. That is how far the gap is. Wingnut has a 10-second time penalty for not serving his penalty. FDQ and Bomber come across the line. P7 and P8. Next one will be Atomic Tristan coming around the final corner on the intermediates. Fair play to you, sir. P9 is what you have won there. P10, Golf Maniac, round the final corner. Will come home P10. At the moment, cap plane is half a second. Are we going to see a podium for the AI? I don't know. Flash then, round the final corner, will come home P11. Probably a race to forget, unfortunately, for the Flash. Lots of incidents happening there, of course. Round the final corner then for Stevie Mack and cap plane. The AI not quite able to get the podium, but it is a P4 finish. And the last one across the line will be George there as well. So that is round 1 over. We'll just run through the finishing order. As we see there, onto the podium comes our winner today. The champagne throws them for our winners on the podium. But this is the start of what is promising to be an exceptional season. Driver of the day then goes to the AI. The AI made driver of the day. Most overtakes goes to Stevie Max. The asset got fastest lap, but our race winner, AMS Josh. Let's quickly go down. We've got 15 seconds. So Josh took the win from Tank, Stevie Mac, the AI of Cat, then George, Jack, FDQ, Bomber, Tristan, Golf, Flash, Wigner, Asset, Hamis, and Ben Tomlin. The bottom three there, all not finishing this Grand Prix, unfortunately. But that is it for our coverage of the first Grand Prix of the season. Once again, thank you so much for joining us here with us. Oh, we had echoes. Do apologise. I don't know why we had a bit of echo. I think it's just because I need some sound paddling if you did hear any echo. But thank you so much for joining us here this evening for the first Grand Prix of this season. We'll be back next week for the Mexican Grand Prix. I should, in theory, have a co-commentator. But if you missed the start of the stream, here's what we got coming up for the rest of the season. But until next week, good night.